Hey everybody, welcome to Getting Stoked. Want to jump in real quick and tell everyone how you can connect with the show. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for constant updates, events, and whatever ramblings and going on I might be involved with. I always want to connect with listeners and be as accessible as possible. So if you're interested in coming on the show, or maybe you just want to shoot the shit, hit me up at gettingstokedpodcast@gmail.com or any of the aforementioned social media websites. Always feel free to send me links to your music, and if I'm into it, I'll hit you back. You guys are everything to me, and it really means the world that anyone listens, so thank you so fucking much. Enough with the chuffa, let's get on with the show.
Crack.
Ooh.
It's about to be a Every Time I Die song right here.
Okay, for real though, Every Time I Die, that Werewolf is one of the greatest songs
absolutely.
ever.
I fucking love Every Time I Die.
Not even like greatest party songs, just greatest song.
I love that band so much, man, and they still have it, dude. Like the Coin has this, what the Coin has to say or whatever on the newer record they have is fucking just brutal.
When
dude.
I liked that record when I first heard it, but the second it's like, which one of you motherfuckers is gonna make me feel alive? I was like, what? It's like, I've been bitten by the party animal.
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
I'm fucking all about that, dude.
Speaking of party animals, we're recording, by the way.
Okay.
Speaking of party animals, have you heard the new Andrew WK record?
No.
No, but Andrew WK?
No, but I've listened to like his previous record.
Okay, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Like I think, as far as like Andrew WK goes, I Get Wet is right up there with the new one. Like, Skip, like the other stuff is fine, but this new album is like an hour long, and it's got interludes of these like 45 second to a minute and a half, like almost spoken word. Like he went around and did the whole philosophy and like give speeches and stuff like that, and it's kind of like there's 3 or 4 interludes where he just gives these crazy motivational speeches about like no matter how hard it is, it'll always get better, and like the devil that lives inside you is your friend because he's gonna teach you to be stronger.
Dude, that's what I like. That's what I loved about like that first record, like that Nosebleed record. It was probably the self-titled one.
I Get Wet.
Dude, it was just like they were all just like these crazy like power anthems of just like positivity and just like partying and shit. And it's like I'm pretty sure the dude's like sober and shit too. It's just like amazing that he's just like that fucking high on life, and I'm just like, damn, dude, I wish I could be like that happy about anything in my entire life.
And he uses partying as a metaphor for like just having a good time in life. And
totally,
it's so cool. So okay, first thing that I want to talk about with you is like
it's not Andrew WK.
It's not Andrew. Oddly enough, I was not thinking about Andrew WK when we went into this. I want to hear about what was kind of some of the most influential artists or albums for you growing up. Like what really kind of impacted you? That's an interesting question for me. I always want to ask.
That's okay. Well, damn, I'm trying to think. I would say like for where I'm at right now in my songwriting, there was an artist from Germany. His name is David Lundberg. He used to play in this like solo act called Ariel Kill Him. That like literally changed my life. Oddly enough, Andy from like the former guitar player for Job for a Cowboy recommended him to me. He's like, hey, like over AIM, he was just like, hey, like this is really really cool stuff. Like check it out. And I remember like listening to it, and that was like such a life altering thing for me. It was just super washed out, super like spacey, really really sad dark stuff, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I feel like that's like probably a huge reason why I just prefer everything I do to be like drowned in layers of reverb and delay and modulation or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, like I remember like as a kid growing up though, like probably all of us, we really got into like punk, and I know I did. I was really into like metal and punk and even folky stuff. Like I don't know. I really loved Elliott Smith as a youngster, totally. And I don't know. There's something relatable about that kind of sadness. So
definitely. And when I first heard Angeles, is that the song?
Mm-hmm.
That was the first. Because I think I had heard some other Elliott Smith songs before, but that was the first one that the melody really stuck with me.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a good song. And I know it's kind of one of his bigger songs, but
but it's
so beautiful.
But I mean, there's a reason why it is, and I don't know. I mean, I just love that person. I probably overshare, but I got like really big into like lucid dreaming when I was a little bit younger.
That's not an overshare. That's a tangent. That's where we should go.
No,
next.
we're it's going into overshare stuff. So I got really big into like lucid dreaming stuff, and so when I was, well, I don't know, when you're doing that, I don't know who they is, but like it's recommended that you start recognizing kind of like dream signs, dream animals, dream like characters, stuff like that, where it's like you can see this person and be like, all right, I'm dreaming, now I'm lucid and in control. And Elliott Smith was like my dream guy, dude. It was weird. I would go to like a bar and Elliott Smith would be there and we would just like chat about music in my dreams, and it was the just like strangest thing, but I don't know. I always like felt like I had a strong connection with his music before that, and then after all that shit happened, I was like even more locked in. But then like I started like, I feel like lucid dreaming is a really awesome thing to be taking part in, but like I at least personally had to be kind of cautious about it. I don't really practice it as much anymore because I was starting to kind of confuse my waking life with lucid dreaming, and it was like starting to cause like psychological problems for me, I feel like.
Would you? Okay, so I've had a couple instances where I've accidentally taken control of my dream, but it wasn't on. It was never like I'm not laying down with that in mind. It was just totally accidental. Now I've been having like, it's been better over the last couple days, but out of nowhere I started having these like nightmares. And I was wondering, it's so funny that we're talking about this now on the podcast, because I was just wondering who can I talk to about this. Do you think lucid dreaming would be a good tool in order to keep yourself from having bad dreams or control? Is that kind of how it works? Is that what it is exactly?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Like even as someone that was just like pretty much researching like the way I like look at the guitar pedals and shit like that now, that's how I was like about lucid dreaming back in the day. And I feel like it kind of go both ways. It's really just depending on how you are. If you like, if I don't know. That's interesting. It's like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it could be super helpful if you were someone that has like perpetual bad dreams and stuff, where it's like, all right, I can see this dream sign. You know, for me, I was like walking like a deer like on a leash, and it was either that or I would see like one character or, you know, one thing or the other. I'd be like write something on my hand or something in my palm, and that would be great. But at the same time, it's like also, I've never felt like 100% in control. It was like stuff where like you have like you know, minimal amounts of control. It's like, all right, I can do this now. But then it's like this excitement of being lucid makes it like to a point where like you lose it. You lose lucidity. It's almost like when you're skateboarding and you get into like a speed wobble. It's like you're like really fast and you're like, this is badass, and you get speed wobble and you're like thrown way off, and then you like wake up and you lose it, you know.
Are there any characters that you remember specifically from dreams as when you were a kid? Like I have this one guy, whenever I think about dreaming, or I have this weird there was this character whose name I don't know, I never had a name or anything like that, but as an adult, the only dreams that I remember are the really extreme weird ones. Yeah. I never, like just last night, I have no idea what I dreamed last night. I know that if I really sat down with a huge collage of different ideas, maybe it would trigger something that I thought that last night, but I don't have any dreams last night. But when I was a kid, I mean, I've never talked about this before because I've never like sat down and talked with anybody about dreams because apparently I'm living my life wrong. But there was this character. He was blue, but it was neon, like a neon fuzzy blue, and he had these really black eyes. And originally, I remember being very this is Grover, dude, from Sesame Street. I think this is. Dude, you're right. Yeah. No, when I say fuzzy, I don't mean plush. I mean
but like he was like
a hue, kind of like a neon.
This like
plasma.
Weird like texture that doesn't exist.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I remember seeing him once and being very afraid, but then his voice was kind of this omnipotent, all-encompassing, soul-shattering voice, and then I would see him in my dreams regularly, and I remember when I'm talking like ages 6 to 7-ish.
Okay.
And I remember anytime I would have a bad dream, he would show up, and I remember him being like this bastion of like sanity. Like I knew I would be okay once I ran into the big neon fuzzy plasma guy.
That's like super cool. Like that,
Yeah.
I would consider that like a dream character, a dream sign. Like if
Yeah.
you see that, like that would be something where I would be like, hey, yeah, like I know I'm dreaming now, and then I can kind of like take a little bit more control of what's happening. And
I don't know what my mom was giving me, but like it was awesome. Like, and I missed that.
Dear mom, can I have what you were giving me for 6-7? Also bring some shit for Ryan too.
I know, yeah, right. And I remember one time hiding under my bed because something was scary. Like this was so weird. I don't know why, but I remember being like 6, and I still have this dream as vivid. And I'm sure. As vivid back then. Now, like I went under my bed and to hide from something that was happening, and he was like there, like staring at me, and I like reached out for him, and I knew that I was gonna be okay. And it's like, it's so weird how I still remember. I can't remember anything that happened when I was 6 years old, but I remember,
you remember that though.
Character like so clearly in my head. It's very interesting,
dude. I mean, I wish there was better like explanations for like stuff like that, but
I know.
I don't know, dude. The human brain is such a weird thing, and
they say that some dream, like a lot of people, you already know way more about dreams than I do, but I
don't think so. I think I have them sometimes, and I'm just like, oh shit, like that was a weird dream or a cool dream. I don't think anyone knows anything about them.
Exactly.
You know, I think we know that like we have like these like crazy dreams as somewhat of like an evolutionary kind of like function where it's like we were reading like a long time ago, they were like studying like maybe like we have some of these dreams as like a defense mechanism, so we know not to do something in waking life. But I still feel like the fact that we have dreams, the fact that there is a different plane of existence that like is 100% tangible, like you have like the fact that like you can achieve lucidity in a dream is still like fucking mind blowing to me. Like what the hell, dude? Like every time and it doesn't happen as frequently anymore because I feel like I kind of shied away from it after I was just kind of like feeling like I was like losing touch with like reality. But like every now and again it happens, and I'm just like, holy shit! Like I feel like this is like I'm tapping into something I shouldn't be at this point, you know.
That's crazy. Like,
but it's cool though. I mean, like it's nice to know that there's like still stuff out there in the world that's like fairly unexplainable, you know. I mean, like we can explain like maybe why the brain does it, because like it's so active through the day. It's like your body is resting, but the brain maybe is still kind of catching up, you know. And so it's like we get that, but like I'm intrigued by the fact that it's like there's still like weird shit out there that we don't know.
Well, think about it like this: people always say, and I'm not a religious person whatsoever, and I'm an aspiring spiritualist person. Like I want to be more spiritual than I am, but I haven't found, I guess, the right people in my life or the right situations in order to open those doors.
Totally.
Like I'm open to it, but I haven't really been in the right place.
Yeah.
And I was and people always talk about energy, and they talk about how energy, like it doesn't just go away after you die. That energy has to go somewhere, and I agree with that. That makes sense. There's nothing about that I can necessarily counter, and it definitely goes back when you talk about dreams and you talk about how you're so active during the day, and like even when you're asleep, that energy is still going and going and going and going, and there's crazy things happening, and it's just so weird. And it's also nice to know that like anxiety is a really big problem with me. Not social anxiety. Like I'm really good at talking to strangers, obviously, and I'm good at meeting people, and that never upsets me. Yeah. But I'm really, really, really over analytical, and I can just convince myself that something is wrong or that I'm doing something wrong to the point of altering memories, to the point, you know what I mean? I'm talking about.
Dude, I 100% agree. Like I don't know. Growing up, I had like some like kind of like obsessive compulsive kind of tendencies and everything, and I kind of just like brushed them on the rug because I was just like OCD. Like like everyone's kind of got that, you know. And it's like, but a lot of people like don't have that, and I like, and it's funny because like. And I met my current girlfriend right now, and it's like she used to like really suffer from it like super badly, and we would talk about it, and I feel like I absorbed a lot of that, and I was like, fuck. Like, I find that like a lot of the time I'm just like, oh shit, like I have to like go like put like I just hung up this towel, you know, after I took a shower. I have to go like, oh, it's not on like the right rung. I need to go put that on like the right rung now. I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing this for? And like part of me is like, yes, like that's okay that you're doing this, and part of me is like, dude, you need to be like combating this kind of stuff, otherwise like it's really gonna take a hold of you. And but it's all like anxiety driven and everything, and I don't know, like you said, like I can be social in like a, you know, a capacity like this and everything, but it's like I go home and everything, and I'm just like a total mess for like absolutely no reason.
Yeah. Well, it was crazy. That's why I got into podcasts in the first place. Was I needed to stop the thoughts. Like I needed to focus on something where I was going to be active, because I'd be walking around the house or cleaning and doing nothing, and my mind would just go crazy with itself in an unproductive way. Like you have to think, and you have to use your brain. You have to think critically, all this stuff. But it gets to a certain point, and you realize within yourself, this is not productive. These thoughts are not productive, and I have to turn them off. And so what I would do was I would listen to stand-up comedy for a long time. Like I'm a huge fan of comedy.
Hell yeah.
And a lot of that is me loving the craft, but a lot of it is just me trying to shut myself up and listen to something else. And then eventually podcast became a thing, and I started to discover podcasts. And ever since then, if I'm not music, I'm usually listening to it if I'm in my car. But if like today, for instance, if I'm doing a bunch of house stuff, it's just podcasts all day long. And it's just to keep myself from triggering myself into these crazy over-analytical things where I completely miss the original memory completely.
Well, and I think that's super, like, one, that's a smart way to combat that too, because with music, like, although you can certainly listen to some stuff that are just like, oh, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Like
the new Andrew WK. Very good.
Full circle. No, so like, but it's really good. Like it can like kind of distract you and everything like that. But also at the same time, like I can't listen to music when I fall asleep. Like I can listen to like our mixes, like for like this album and everything like that, because I'm just like, fuck, like we need to change all these fucking things. But I can't listen to other music, and I never have been like since I was a teenager, because I just like think about shit way too much. I make movies in my head, and I'm just I'm like, God, dude, I'm never gonna go to bed with this kind of stuff. But like podcasts, it's kind of cool because you get to hear, you know, like a couple other people's like kind of stream of conscience, like kind of stuff, and I feel like that's super helpful. Like I wish we listened to more, like when we're like doing that last tour and everything. We listen to some, but it's like a lot of the time it's like comedy bang bang stuff.
I love that,
which is great. I absolutely love that. I feel like me and Austin are very, like our drummer Austin is like very on board with that. He's usually the one that like instigated, because we're just like, can we just have silence for a little bit? Be like, can we listen to something? Because like I don't want to hear you guys like snacking on shit and like burping and farting and everything. Like, dude, like I'm just done. Like I need to have some. I'm the kind of person that needs to have like something going on. I feel
Me too.
like
Fans,
vacuums,
fans.
I love fans. Like I would sleep with a fan on high all day if I possibly could, but like my better half won't allow that. So
yeah, it's Rogan is my number one. Like his podcast is my number one thing. I love it, and it goes so deep into so many different crazy things. And
I actually haven't really listened to his a whole lot, but like I appreciate his appreciation for like DMT and like and like psychedelics and everything like that, just because like that's like in my opinion, like that's a big part of my life too. Yeah. So
he's one of those guys, and we're gonna get back to that in a second. He's one of those guys who just find. He's up to maybe almost 1,100 now, like episodes. It's something ridiculous.
Yeah, he's some crazy. He's been doing it for like not even a very long time,
but
like
2008 or something like that.
Bajillion episodes.
So he's one of those guys who just scroll until you find a guest who you like, and then boom, you're good. You don't need to listen to anything else. Like it's not a continuation of a story. You can just jump into it, and immediately you know what you're in for. So then that's what I did. I think one of the first episodes I heard was I heard him on Kevin Smith's podcast, and that's how I got into Rogan, and I followed him and went down the rabbit hole. So, okay, let's talk for a second about psychedelics, because I've never the most psychedelic experience that I've ever had was eating an edible on an empty stomach, and
that's still pretty intense though, man.
Like really intense. Like I was in a movie theater. We went to see Jungle Book, the new Jungle Book movie.
Oh shit!
And we were front row because no other seats were available. I was with my entire family.
Oh god!
And me and my girlfriend and my whole family. And my dad gave me half of his edible, and I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. And it was one of those.
Got a cool dad.
Yeah, I do have a cool dad. Well, my dad didn't start smoking until he was like in his mid-40s.
That's how my mom is, dude. Like my mom and I like butted heads so much growing up, and then as soon as I moved out, we are like chill, and like she retired, and she was like, all right, like, or like I don't know if she retired per se, but she was just like, I'm just not gonna work for like an extended period of time, and she was like, she got her medicinal card, and now I'm just like. She's like my drug dealer.
Say that's how I was. I was with my dad. My dad, like, he when he first signed up, they gave him like a tiny little pipe, and I remember him he coming up to me like a kid and being like, "Hey, look what I got," and like pulling out his palm with the little pipe. I was like, "I'm so proud of you, Dad." So, my dad.
Thank God you needed this, dude.
I know, right? Well, dude, it got him off of pain pill. My dad was like. Addicted to pain pills, not in a kind of like Trailer Park Boys kind of way, but like my dad has legitimately.
Let's not drag Trailer Park Boys to the mud here, okay?
My dad has legitimately severe back problems, and he was on all of this bullshit, awful narcotic pain pills forever, and he got his med card, and then he's off of all of them. Like it's
amazing,
magical. Dude. So he gives me half of this Hershey's, or not. I don't think Hershey's made them, but like this little chocolate.
No,
bar.
Hershey's made these.
Yeah.
They in fact did.
So and I took half of it, and about like 30 minutes into it, it was that perfect level of high where I was really stoned, and we were driving my girlfriend was driving. We were going to the movie theater, and out in Queen Creek, and I was like, as long as I don't get any higher than I am right now, everything is gonna be perfect. And then it went up like 100%.
Oh yeah, dude. Because that's how it always goes. You're just like, this is great. How can I just feel like this all the time? And it's just like, oh shit. Yeah. Like I feel like edibles usually definitely turn on you on that.
It did. One of those points where, like, when I had my loyalty cup, which we're drinking out of right now, the loyalty cup.
I appreciate it, dude. Yeah. I really dig this. I'm recognizing a lot of characters. I see Jaws right here. Indiana Jones. There's multiple Ninja Turtles. I got Yoda.
We had it was just little things, motor functions, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna hand him the cup, and when he grabs onto it, I let go. Like,
dude, I feel you because like as someone that struggles with like really bad like anxiety as well, like weed like tends to help if I'm by myself.
Yeah.
If I'm with anyone else, it will exacerbate it like tenfold. And I'm just like the tiniest things, even just like hanging out with people that are like totally cool with me. Like I just feel like I'm hanging out with like the guys and everything, and I'm just like trying to like hand like the pipe back or something like that. I'm just like, oh god, I hope I'm doing this right now.
With weed, I've noticed once I hit the highest peak of high, I get really anxious for like 8 minutes, and then I'm good.
Yeah.
But the reason that I wanted to bring up Psychedelics wasn't to tell the Jungle Book story.
I do appreciate that.
Yeah. No, I melted into the seat. And I will say though, the first time I saw Jungle Book in the theater, because that was the second time I saw it, because I really liked that movie.
At least you knew what you were going into.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's good.
Yeah, no, but Talking Animals was definitely not where I should have gone with that. So I'm in the front row, and I'm melting, and everything sucks. But I have to say, the
neck is hurting really bad.
Yeah. First time I saw it, it was great. Second time, that high where you're over noticing everything, the CG is not good when you're on edibles.
Oh no, dude! It's never good. You're just like, none of this is real.
Yeah.
Like they shot this in a place smaller than my bathroom right now.
So okay, but the reason I brought up Psychedelics though is I do want to talk to you about this and not just tell my own stories. I'm afraid of psychedelics because I have, and you're you seem like the perfect person to talk to about this because you have anxiety as well. I'm such an anxious person that I'm terrified that if I were to even take mushrooms or the littlest amount of mushrooms, that I would open some kind of door that I don't want to open, or I would have some kind of crazy bad trip. And like that's why I've never done it. And I feel like I need to like squeegee my third eye and open all this stuff, but I'm so scared to because I know me. You know what I mean?
Well, what I would say is that it's a lot less intimidating after you do it. It's like, I feel like they all start off like the same way. It's like, all right, cool. Like I've ingested, either, acid or mushrooms or, whatever you're taking. I mean, I can't speak on like, I haven't done mescaline or DMT yet, but like it's on there. It's on the
Masculine.
list.
Do people still do masculine?
Yeah, dude.
I feel like that was just invented by Hunter S. Thompson. That was it.
I mainly want to just because I love Glassjaw. My favorite song from there is "Two Tabs of Masculine."
Got it.
No, but so I'll preface by saying the first time I ever did acid, I was like, wow, like, all right, I just did acid. Like, by the end of the trip, I was like, that was like super manageable. Like, there was like certain parts of it that were like very intense, but like overall I was like, oh, I thought this was gonna be like, I think I thought acid was gonna be like what DMT is, and I don't think there's anything like DMT. Like, I mean, and I've had friends that are like in that I would consider like way less. I mean, not that I'm any kind of connoisseur of psychedelics necessarily. I know what I like, and I'll do them, you know, however often as I want. But like, but I was like, I had a friend that was like, yeah, I did DMT the other day. I was like, you? Like, that's crazy. I was like, that's awesome. Like, I feel a lot more confident in that. But they all start off the same way. It's like you have like a little giggle fit at first. It's like the really laugh attack stuff from like weed and everything, and then it's just like, I feel like the anxiety just like melts away. It's like there is no anxiety. It's like you were just like this very pure kind of being and everything, and especially acid in general. Like, I feel like my brother actually like gave me this metaphor, and I don't know if he read it somewhere or whatever the situation was, but he was like, mushrooms is perceiving, acid is understanding. And you know, I did mushrooms the first time, and it was, you know, a lot of fun, you know, listened to a lot of cool music, and it was great. But like, I would definitely say that like acid's probably my go-to kind of thing. Yeah. And mostly just for the fact that it's just like usually so clean. It's like it's like this crystal clean type of like psychedelic experience. Like, it's not super visual unless like it's, you know, you're taking a lot or you're taking like a strong dose or whatever. But like, it's like, I don't know. It's just easier to navigate for me. It's like it's like this crystal clear path that you're just like on the entire time. It's like you can allow it to do whatever you want to do. Mushrooms is a little bit more like exciting and like, I don't know, like just like fun to goof around and stuff, but like acid, and I don't know, and honestly, both drugs, in their like own regard and everything, like I would never use any of these for any reason other than to just like, you know, learn for myself or like write. I would never like take acid or eat mushrooms and go to a party and stuff like that, because it's just like, it just seems like a waste, you know. I would much rather like have like a very fun introspective journey like on my own, you know. I'd rather just like chill in my room, make noises with my guitar, and just like, you know, just enjoy myself and just like try to like explore more about myself that like you don't know, because like there's you have a lot of these like mental walls, and it's like these thoughts and these realizations that like you can't really quite get to. It's like almost like a video game. It's like you're like, especially like old school Zelda ones, where it's like I can see that there's a heart piece right over here. Like, I just have to get over this wall real fast. And then it's like with those drugs, it's like that wall is just not there. You just like go straight to it, and it feels like just kind of pure happiness, you know. And you're on this like realm of just like of happiness, you know. That for me, at least, you know, like I've done it. I don't know. I never want to fucking sound like braggadocious about any of that shit, but it's just like I've done it plenty of times, and I've never even had anything close to a bad trip. I've legit tried to like made like horror music on guitar and like put on shit in another room, so we had like two different like sounds going on, and being like, I want to see the fucking dark side of things, and like I just couldn't, dude. Like, and
well, that probably says a lot about you as a person.
Maybe, I don't know, but like I feel like I'm usually a pretty sad and anxious person all the time. So I feel like if anyone was gonna have like a bad time with it, like it would be me. And I feel like I have like more anxiety with like weed than I do with psychedelics. Like I
can see that. Now with acid, I when I was a kid, so two things that have kept me from really doing psychedelics. Like, sure, there's the thoughts and fears of it, but there's two tangible things that have kept me from doing it. One of them, when I was a kid, comedian D.L. Hewley D.L. Hewley, I think
Hell
it's his
yeah,
name.
D.L. Hewley, man.
It's his name, right? Okay,
He's
cool.
hilarious.
Yeah. So back in the day, I had this VHS that I got from Movie Gallery, and it was he has this joke on there where he said he was talking about doing acid, and he's like, my acid trip lasted 8 hours. That's a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, does it really last that long?
It does, but it's not like intense like that. Like most psychedelics come in waves. You're gonna have like times where it's just like when you're going into it, it's like boom, like all right, we're doing this, and then you kind of like come back down, and everything's like kind of chill, and you're just like, dude, is it over? Like, damn, that kind of sucks because like I had such a fun time right there.
Got it.
And obviously like so much like dopamine and serotonin.
Yeah, do you
is
get
just,
it like a crash like you do on like, other drugs?
No, I mean like I don't know. If you and I were to ever do this, I would like kind of set it up the way that I like to. Like I always like to set up just like even like I've never had to use it ever, but I like to set up like a little safe room just in case. So it's like dim lit, headphones, music playing like nice music like cigarros, like hammock kind of stuff, just like pretty shit going on. But like just in case like things are like for myself or anyone else, is like not going super well. It's just like, all right, well, let's just put, you, me, whoever else there. Let's listen to some good music and we'll just chill. Like, I feel like I've never been like out of control on acid ever, or mushrooms for that example. But either way, damn,
got it.
Where was I going?
No, you're good.
No, so yeah, I've never really had like any kind of like situation where I was like gonna be like a stressful kind of environment,
Yeah, I
like,
wouldn't be going anywhere public. I would be
no,
hanging
sure,
out
dude.
or...
And by the way, like, don't, because like it's not scary. It's just hilarious. Like, dude, I remember like one trip I went on. Like, we had to like buy more. Like, all right, so when I'm tripping, I usually like to like have like maybe a couple beers before going into it. Just makes like the transition like a little bit easier. You're just kind of like start to realize you're like, oh yeah, I feel like a little weird, Yeah. And
when you change waters with fish, like when you put fish in a different tank, like have you ever done that?
Yeah, of course.
Put them and let them warm up to the water a little first.
Exactly. That's exactly what you're doing right there. So I realize I'm just going back and forth through this microphone right now.
Worry,
you're probably just
fine.
like,
no, it sounds
fuck,
great,
dude.
No, it sounds great.
So yeah, it's just one of those things where like we'd try to do that, but we like ran out of beer one time because like for some reason we wanted to drink the entire trip. But I had to go into like someone else who like wasn't tripping drove to Safeway or Fry's or whatever, and I went in there to buy like another like 30 rack of like cheap beer or something, and it was like the most hilarious thing. Like I was laughing at just like the lights, just the fact that they were so bright. I was just like, this is the most hilarious thing I've ever seen in my life. But it's like that kind of stuff where it's like, why is that hilarious? Like it's not hilarious, but it's like your brain is just like on like a very different kind of like plane, and like those kind of things just like make you laugh, and it's like I don't know, in my experience my anxiety melted away, and that's kind of why I like to do it. And I certainly don't do it very frequently because I've met people that have just like fried themselves out, but I'll do it like a few times a year or something like that.
I feel like there's my entire life has been a constant quest for knowledge, and that's a lot of what the podcast is, or why I even had a drive to do it in the first place.
Yeah,
I never learn enough. I'm always I'm just like Johnny Five from Short Circuit, just input.
Yeah,
like
dude.
I need to learn, and I feel like there's a lot that I'm missing out on. There's a lot of people who I've looked up to in my life, whether it's Bill Hicks or Joe Rogan or whatever. People who exactly. There's all these. I understand that there's a lot that I haven't unlocked within myself, and I know that if I don't, I'm going to look back and wish that I did, and I want to understand those things. That way, I would rather, I want to learn them now and understand them as I get older, as opposed to getting older and being like, man, I wonder how my life would have been had I maybe unlocked something else within myself.
Good place to start off. I mean, if you don't want to dive completely in, I would recommend just taking like a tab. And
really? You see, a lot of people say try mushrooms first.
I don't know, man. Like it's fun, dude. But like mushrooms are a lot more, in my experience. I don't know. Like everyone's experience is different. That's the thing, Like exactly. My life is different than yours, and like your chemistry is different than mine. So like, but like in my experience and like the people that I've had like little adventures with, like just doing like one tab of acid, I feel like you'd probably like end your 6 to 8 hour trip be like, damn, like that was it. Like I thought it was gonna be like fucking like mind melting stuff.
Yeah.
But like there is acid out there that
I've heard that though. I've heard that it's over exaggerated.
It very much is, and I know the acid back in like the 60s and 70s like very much was, but like I don't know, like the person that I get from is like pretty legit.
Yeah.
But like, I would say, like, honestly, like, you'd be fine with it. If you want to just see what it's kind of like, though, like, buy, like, an eighth of mushrooms, eat, like, half of them. Maybe not even that. Eat, like, 2 caps and stems, and just see what it does.
Yeah, see, I need to...
I did that and, like, just, like, played guitar, and it was, like, Alex was like, you tripping balls? And, like, my girlfriend Alex was like, you tripping balls? And I was just like, no, dude, like, I'm kind of high, but, like, that's it.
see, what I need to do is...
we party in here.
Yeah. So, with mushrooms, and I know that this is a very isolated incident. It's not like I believe you and there's never been a single person in my life who I've talked to about this who's ever told me not to do it, and I totally understand that I should. But I've had like a bad experience where my cousin. And I know now that he had other stuff in his system. Yeah. But my cousin had had some other shit in his system, and he took like I don't even know. He told me, I wish I remembered. He told me what it was once, but he took an ungodly amount of mushrooms. Yeah. Just like like enough mushrooms where even my friends who were really into drugs were like, fuck that. Like it was stupid. And I watched him fall in and out of consciousness to where he'd be walking and he'd fell on his face on the floor, and then he'd wake back up and he's like laughing, and then he falls on his face again. Yeah. And then he gets up and he's crying, and then he like pisses himself, and he like thought he was in hell, and we had to call the ambulance, and like it was awful, like seeing him come in and out of consciousness. And ever since then,
I can totally understand your apprehension.
Exactly.
On that. Like, holy shit, that would be like absolute worst case scenario. Like, hands down.
And it wasn't even, like, my cousin. It was, like, my brother. Like, this is the person that I grew up... Like, I never had a brother. This is the closest thing I ever had to that. So it wasn't even, like, someone who I wasn't connected with. It was my brother.
Yeah, dude.
So ever since then, like, I've always just been nervous. But I'm at this... I've seen my life as a series of kind of bookended chapters. I've noticed a very clean cut like era, like here's where my life is in these little sections. Yeah. Like some people it kind of bleeds together, but I've noticed these very stark like changes, and I always understand when I'm at the end of one, and the beginning of another, and they're always simultaneous. Yeah. And right now I'm in that point, not just with Phantom Party ending, but there's a lot of things in my life where I realize that I'm at the
kind of cusp of another thing,
exactly, of something else, and I know that I'm about to ride that wave, and I'm very, very excited to see what that is. And I feel like something like Psychedelics would really kind of push that kind of new... that's what I want. I want like a new scope of
dude. And again, like I feel like you'd probably do it and be like, I did it, and then like by the time it was over, you'd be like, wow, like that was like exaggerated by movies and everything, you know.
Beavis
so
and Butthead
much.
Do America.
Yeah,
it's all like crazy and Rob Zombie's playing and shit.
Well, like that's like, but like, in reality, I feel like that's probably like and not so much like Beavis and Butthead Do America, but like in the fact that it's exaggerated. Like I feel like most people think that like acid is going to be like DMT, and like if you want,
that what DMT is like legit, like talking to aliens and shit.
I haven't done it yet, but
that's right, you haven't done it.
but I really want to.
Where do you get like ayahuasca and shit? Fuck that. I'm never doing that. No matter how far I
don't want to do like, I don't know. I'm curious about ayahuasca, and I've researched it a bunch, but like I just know that like a lot of my friends that have done it, they've just been like, yeah, it's like barfing and shitting yourself is kind of part of it. And I'm just like, dude, I'd rather just smoke DMT, like, and just be done with it, because like then I don't have to worry about like making a total ass out of myself or being like, wow, like, sorry that I barfed all over your bed right here.
I know that. Like that was the thing, man. I heard Ari Shaffir talking about his doing ayahuasca and how you just like you have to plan to shit yourself and vomit and stuff. And I'm just like, no, nothing. There's nothing you can teach me that would make.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do anything that's gonna be like remote. Like, and I want that experience, but like, that's not worth it to me. Like,
totally.
Pretty much no experience is worth it to like just like defecate or like vomit all over yourself.
Yeah,
like that's not chill. Like, because I don't want to wake up and be like, damn, that was crazy. Be like, what is that smell?
I know,
like,
it's me.
Oh shit, that's me.
So
Shit.
it's like the like that scene in Train Spotting. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, exactly. Where he's got the
wakes
sheets
up
and everything, dude. Oh my god, that was like, I literally just like, all right, so my better half has never seen that movie, and my brother and I would like put that on because I was like, Trainspotting's glorious.
Scene,
like
that baby scene fucked me
dude.
up. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's just the fact that they had like rave music on for that entire time. Like, fuck that. But so we watched that, and like I was starting to like kind of like avert my eyes because I was like, fuck. Like, I know Spud's about to fuck this whole scene up right now. And she was like, what's happening? And I was just like, just watch this breakfast scene right now because it's going to be...
breakfast scene.
Oh, it is awful to watch.
Dude,
it is...
That movie is the stuff of nightmares, not only in that way, but that scene where...
the baby. Or not the baby crawling on the ceiling, but like just like the other baby like in the cradle and they're just like...
there's that too. But specifically, there's other...
fucked.
Like when Renton like accidentally has sex with the schoolgirl.
Yeah.
And he wakes up the next day and he asks if they're their flatmates and that's their parents, and he sees her in the squirrel laugh and she freaks out. Like, that's bad enough. But then when she's like, if you don't date me, I'll call the police.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that where it's like...
Oh my god! It's like, what? Like, oh god! I'd be like, but I don't even know what I would do in that kind of situation.
Happens,
like, but I'm sure it does. But, it's just like, fuck.
Before we get on to the next topic of conversation, no, you're fine. Before we get on to the next topic of conversation, there's something that immediately needs to be addressed. We were talking about music a little bit ago when we were talking about. When I think about your music, I think about textures. I think about shapes. Like, your music has a very palpable shape and texture to it. And I was listening to something the other day. I'm doing this thing this year where I'm listening to every single album I possibly can, or I have even the smallest modicum of interest in. All year long. I've heard, I think, like 40 albums already from January to March. I'm just constantly. And
I've listened to like 8.
Yeah, well, I mean, which is still great, but it's because last year when I made this list of I wanted to make a top 10 albums of the year, and I could only come up with 7, and that was pathetic. Like, all year long was I just listening to the same thing? Like, that's ridiculous. So this year I'm over the top with it, and I discovered something this year that if you don't already know about, you need to listen to, and you're obviously more into the kind of music than I am, so if I bring it up, maybe you're going to be like, of course I've heard it. But I
probably haven't.
There's this guy, his name is Nils Fromm.
This sounds, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't want. I hate the whole like, it sounds familiar, but I don't know. No. I'm just like, no, I legit don't know anything.
I'm going to send you a link. You have
Please
Spotify, right? You're kidding me.
Mike. All right, so
Ryan,
all right, dude. All right,
it's 2018,
dude. Hear me out. Okay,
I'll add you to my family plan, and you can have it for free. That's how much it matters to me that you get Spotify right now,
dude. All right, so hear me out. I was mooching off of Alex's for like a while, and so like, you know, she likes to listen to like a lot of like stuff that I like a lot as well, but I like to listen to like a lot of heavier stuff too. So like I have like a lot of like Bong Ripper or like Primitive Man and shit like that, and. So, I think I was like messing up her algorithm, and so she like stopped her plan, and then so I was just like, oh, fuck Spotify, and then I saw that she has it again, but I don't have her login information, and I'm just like too scared to ask my own girlfriend what the Spotify thing is.
Okay.
So yeah, but like,
how do you hear new music?
So at work we have Spotify, and I just mooch off of Trevor's Spotify now.
Okay, so. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna send you a message right now with the name and album name, and I'm telling, like, you have to listen to it. Okay. And it's kind of long, but it's perfect.
Dude, I literally just recorded like a 10-minute song right here. Like, trust me, don't even get me started. We're probably okay.
So it's called, and for everybody who's wondering what I'm talking about, this guy, and I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, Nils Nils Fromm Farhm. It's the album is called All Melody. It just came out on Erased Tapes this year, and it's this kind of beautiful yet kind of haunting instrumental music, and the album's like an hour long, and it's this really long, gorgeous. It's tons of different instruments, tons of different sounds. When I listened to it at first, I was listening to it in the van. I drive a van for work, and the van speakers aren't awesome. And I listened, but then I listened to it on noise canceling JBLs that I have, and it's one of those things where he keeps the texture of the music, not only with the notes, but there's this really gorgeous organ ballad on it, and the name I don't remember because it's one of those albums.
Dude, I never remember names at all. Like I literally like I said, like one of my favorite albums of all time is like, well, I would say like Saddles, like Shell Art one, but like I've been listening to Yoke a ton, and I know zero of the song titles. I'm just like, I just know that I fucking love Charles, and I love these fucking songs, dude. Like,
and it's one of those albums though that because it's instrumental, like who's really paying attention? It's just you're listening to the entire album as one piece. You're not cherry picking Nils Fromm songs.
That's how you should be listening to an album. You know, like you should be listening to it like beginning to end, like. And I gotta nerd out a little bit. Like I said, I was listening to you and Thomas's L West like podcast recently, and they're doing like their EP, and you were like kind of harping on the fact that like you still love like full length albums.
Yeah, man.
And like maybe it's like a dated concept, but like fuck no, it is not a dated concept, dude. Like no, like EPs are fucking brilliant, and like they should still exist. Like, and one personally, I thoroughly look forward to. L West EP just because like one, they're recording with like Seosin's guitar player, which is crazy.
Yeah,
I think we can actually actively talk about that now because they've announced it.
He announced it.
But as someone that also enjoys EPs, but like we do need to also like not eliminate full lengths because I love them. Like you're supposed to listen to those like for like an hour before you go to bed. Like it's supposed to be the thing where like you like lay on your bed, read the lyrics, like do the thing where you like geek out about the album artwork, and like that's like that's an important thing.
I know, man. I have memories of doing that all the time. Like AJJ's so when it comes to AJJ, I'm sure you're an AJJ fan. Like most of us are. I'm a weirdo. I think personally, Christmas Island is their best record. I think it's phenomenal. And a lot of people, I remember, like I'm a huge Anthony Fantano fan. Like I love the Needle Drop and his YouTube channel. And he didn't like it, and a lot of people didn't like it. But I think it's great. And I remember just like laying in bed, listening to the record, and reading the lyrics, and just fully for the first time understanding what a brilliant lyricist Sean Burnett is.
That's the fucking point, dude. It's like, goddamn, dude. Like, I'm not like none of us are just fucking singing fucking lyrics for like no goddamn reason.
Yeah.
Like,
your lyrics are fucking ridiculously good too, though.
I don't know about that.
Yes, they are. Like they're insane.
But I 100% agree with you, man. Like, dude, like, there's so many of us that are like, or I don't want to say us. I feel like I'm just like in this fucking like weird fucking, what's it called? God damn it. Anyways, there's like so many like people that are like writing like these powerful lyrics and stuff like that, and like a lot of like their work is meant to be like viewed as like a full body of like work, and like just not talking about myself, but like just please listen to like their EPs, their albums, like in their full embodiment.
Totally.
You know, like read the lyrics, you know, like I try to as much as I can, and especially if people like make it so easy to like listen to it on Bandcamp that's like, hey, here's the song, here's the lyrics. I'm like, fuck yeah. Thank you so much, dude, for giving this to me, because like I just love that. Like I love like feeling like that pain, whatever you were like feeling when you were writing that song, or like that joy, that dissonance, whatever it was, you know, like that's super important.
And it's also wonderful when people are able to express like so much emotion even without lyrics, and that's how I kind of want to finish up talking about Nils Fromm real quick before we move on to something else that I want to talk about. Is that like that new record is he does things that makes me listen to music differently. For instance, I don't know how he recorded it, but I have a hunch that he did it a certain way, because there's both a saxophone ballad and a organ ballad where you can hear the keys. Like I guarantee you, I know for a fact they put a mic on the speaker, and I guarantee you they put a mic on the keys.
Yeah,
you
dude.
can hear him banging on the keys.
I'm sure.
And same with the sax. With the saxophone, you can hear every single key being punched.
Yeah.
And it adds this texture, and I
Totally.
feel like that's something that we should do more. That's so cool to be able to hear the making of the music and the music at the same time.
Dude, I 100% agree, and like not to fucking plug or anything like that, but like I have like a solo project that like I do called Sewn Bones, and like that's like a big thing that I enjoy doing. It's like mostly like this like I don't know, like this textural kind of like thing. Like they did like a study like, you know, I don't know, however many years ago, whatever it was, but it was just basically one of those things where it was just like there can be like noises in nature and like in just like everyday life that are therapeutic to hear, you know. And I just kind of like wanted to like elaborate on that, just be like, all right, like, well, what if we did like that as kind of like the percussion, or like that as just like background noise, and like put a song on top of that, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just think that's like really, really important. Like texture and all that stuff is hugely important, and especially for me, like I know we all really try to be very conscious about that kind of stuff. So
well, and another thing that very obviously inspires you personally, lyrically, and I'm sure musically as well, is nature.
Yeah.
Nature obviously plays a huge role in that. Like, has I don't know how to put it, but being in touch with nature or being in love with it or whatever, has that been something that has kind of you've carried with you your whole life, or is that something that you one day just kind of understood as being this ridiculously massive thing that you have to write about a lot, or what?
I don't know, man. Like,
it's a role for sure.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. I mean, I feel like it's been with me for my whole life, because, like, you know, I grew up just, like, hanging out with my friends, and, like, we just, like, climb mountains and just, like, collect rocks and stuff like that. We'd be like, oh, shit, like, we have, like, a really huge fucking chunk of quartzite. Like, I remember one time, like, we were, like, hiking, and we literally got a football-sized chunk of, like, quartzite. Like, perfect, dude. Like, no dirt, like, barely any veins in it at all. It was just, like, this beautiful chunk, dude, and it was, like, I don't know, like that's just so fucking cool to me, and I don't know, like, and I feel like just growing up in life, I just had a profound appreciation for like that sacredness. Like there's like a sacred silence of just the earth that is just like just being, you know, and we're humans, we're just like so busy like buzzing along, just almost like ants on the surface, you know, and I fucking hate that, dude. Like, I don't want to be, and I don't want to fucking quote so directly Waking Life, but, like, I don't want to be an ant, man.
I was hoping you were going to bring that movie up earlier, because you mentioned, like, how your lucid dreaming was interacting with your waking life, and I was like, I really hope to God we're going to talk about the movie Waking Life.
Yeah, dude.
I just leak later, it's the shit.
I don't want to be I don't want to be a literal or figurative fucking ant, man. Like, and I just don't. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I understand.
Get fucking emotional and fucking just like want to cry about it and shit like that, just because like the fact that I feel like so powerless in my entire life. But like, I don't know. Like, there's something just so sacred about nature, just standing in the stillness of everything. You know, like there's nothing that can replicate that in any part of your life. Like, there's nothing that can replicate just standing in a meadow by yourself, just yelling at the top of your lungs, just being like, insert clipping mic thing right here. But that just feels good. It feels natural. It feels like you're in tune with like your like with the ancients, you know, with this ancient vibration that's kind of resonating with the earth. And I realize this sounds like fucking hippie fucking bullshit, but like I don't know, I feel like that's important to be cognizant of the stillness in life, and we don't get a lot of it, and especially in Tempe, because we have freeways everywhere, which is a humongous convenience, and I absolutely, you know, live by it basically, because I've lived in Tempe for a while.
Is that where you're still at? You're still in Tempe?
Yeah, I live like 5 miles away from you.
Nice.
Less than,
That's
maybe
awesome.
even. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, like there's something very special about that, and especially about Arizona too. Like I didn't really appreciate Arizona until I viewed it from someone else's kind of eyes, and it's like this place is amazing. You know, like the summer's stuck. Obviously, we all hate it, but like the fact that you can drive 2 hours in any direction and you get a completely different set of scenery, like that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, man. Like you can wind up in Payson, for instance, which is definitely something that I want to talk about this real fast because we're talking about how it's hard to kind of get in touch with nature or find nature and things like that. And I'm at this. Again, this is kind of this weird crossroads where I'm at right now, where I appreciate nature and I love nature, but I feel like I haven't truly. I guess like let it creep into my bones. I guess like it's one of those things like on Against Me's latest record, Laura Jane Grace has this lyric where she says, "Just because I can taste it doesn't mean I sink my teeth into it," and that's exactly how I feel about my appreciation with nature. Like I get it, but I haven't like felt it in my chest 100% yet, and I know that I will. And if I'm ever gonna do it, there's this place in Payson that my girlfriend found on accident, where it's basically off of it's off of a main road. It's like a random turn. You make the turn, and you follow this crazy winding road that becomes just dirt, and that dirt road will carry you for like 20 miles. And you can only go like 10 miles an hour because it's just dirt. And there's these random access roads off of it that have these signs that say, enter at your own risk. The government no longer takes care of this. This is all you. Like, we don't touch this anymore. All we do is open and close the gate at once and twice a year during the winter.
Awesome.
And you go in there. Every once in a while, we'll see hunters. And I even asked the people up at the ranger station, like, hey, what do you know about these trails? And we looked at the map, and they're like, yeah, I've never seen those before. I've never been there. Like, if you are at least an hour and a half away from any kind of electricity. It's nothingness. It's just vast forest.
Sounds awesome.
It's amazing, and we go there every once in a while. There's black bear and Mexican gray wolves have been reintroduced into the population.
Yes, and also like they're endangered, so like that's really great that they have been reintroduced to like different states and everything like that.
Yeah,
so.
I mean they're there. We heard them howling at night, and it was fucking God, it was so scary.
It's scary, but it's like, dude, it's like really beautiful. Like I love like their like Discord like little like wolf tones and everything like that. Because like it's weird if you look at that stuff like on a mathematical like kind of like schematic. Like they're very much in tune. Like they're just like barely drifting in and out of tune. Like it sounds like it's kind of like a Discord, but it's actually like perfectly in tune. It's just like the distance that they are from you.
It was also in like crazy like Dolby stereo because we're laying here and you hear one pack over on the left start and then you hear the other one on the right start, and it's like it was crazy. So we go up there and we hang out, and you stand there and you can yell out or make a noise, and it just carries through the trees for miles, and it's gorgeous. And
that sounds just straight magical,
dude. I'll send you like a pin drop or something so you can check it out.
Please do.
So
I would love that.
Every once in a while, like there's like one group of hunters that we'll see every once in a while, and you can tell that they've had camp set up there for weeks. So they have one of those giant like house tents, you know.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's really no people. There's just enough people to make you feel comfortable in knowing that if something were to really go wrong, you could probably find somebody else.
Yeah.
But you'd never see them or hear them when you're there.
Damn.
And which is where a lot of these bones that I have collected over here.
I like that. Yeah.
This guy right here, and the spine, and this, and that, everything but the dog skull.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Which I got from Curious Nature, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But you've been there, right? Have you been to Curious Nature?
I actually have not.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Where's that at?
Everything else I bleached myself, and we found out in the woods.
That's really
out there.
cool.
But Curious Nature is an oddity store that's on Indian School and I don't remember. Central and Indian School, right? That kind of like nice gentrified area. We're Stinkweeds. It's right behind Stinkweeds.
Okay, cool.
And it's all oddities and bones and wet specimens and stuff like that, and it's really cool. And
I really dig that though a lot,
dude.
And
yeah,
I appreciate the skull, and it looks like it's probably some sort of like deer vertebrae or something like that.
The vertebrae. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I found in the woods. We don't know. Like, there's a lot of elk back there. I don't know if it's big enough to be an elk, but we found that this was definitely a deer.
Yeah.
But the snout's all gone.
Yeah, but you can tell it's a deer for sure.
Yeah. So
skull sizes.
Yeah, man, and
indicative of that.
And here's the thing though, like about the skulls and all the stuff that I have and the butterfly and all this stuff is, like, my thing with all, like, I have a lot of skeletons, and people who have seen the show have seen the pictures. Like, I've got tons of like skulls and maps of anatomy and things like that, and that isn't like in no way like exploitative. A lot of people get that shit wrong. Like, they'll walk into a place of Curious Nature and just think that it's like, yeah, fucking metal, dude. Like, it's not. It's an appreciation.
No, it's appreciating the lives that these animals have led, and like the spirits that they have basically lived, and I don't know, just like, I don't know.
It's not just macabre. It's not just macabre. And people see the horror movie posters and they think that they're tied together, and I'm sure they could. In a way, they are. Yeah. I feel like that's what gave me that's kind of the doorway. But once I got through the door, I understood, like, oh, this is a completely separate thing.
Yeah, like, I mean, you can still appreciate two different aesthetics and everything. Like, I have a coyote tail attached to my guitar. And
is that a real? I was wondering, is that a real coyote tail? Where'd you get that at?
It was a gift.
That's awesome.
But I don't know. I've always had like a very profound like connection with coyotes and everything like that. I got it like years ago and everything.
Really, why coyotes?
When I got my
Lion
first,
King, I fucking love the coyote.
those
are hyenas. I'm
those
sorry.
are hyenas. Yes.
Sorry, fuck me.
We're gonna edit this out.
I'm so sorry.
No, but when I got my first car ever, it was like my grandparents, they passed away, and like they left this like old Saturn or whatever, and I was driving down Pecos. Like I grew up in like the very end of like Pecos, like before they developed the place, so it was just like literally all just desert.
Is that Queen Creek or Gilbert?
It's like Ahwatukee, but like
Ahwatukee, okay.
Like before Ahwatukee was Ahwatukee, it was just like just straight, just like sticks.
Okay.
So I stopped in the middle of the road one time, and this coyote would just not move, like would not budge, like headlights on and everything like that. I got out of my car and everything like that. I would legit was like, I might have a pet coyote at this point, you know? But yeah, I got pretty close to it, and then it just like kind of looked me in the eyes and just like scampered off. But like I feel like there was like some sort of connection, and like I didn't buy the tail or anything like that. It was just a gift at one point or another. But yeah, I don't know. I just have always had like a very strong connection with coyotes, and I feel like that's a big part of like what like keeps me here is just like I love like the wilderness here. It's like it's feral everywhere. Like you have like Tempe of Mesa and everything like that, but it's like you don't have to go too far to like see javelinas and coyotes and and everything. And like that's what I kind of love about Arizona. Like I might. Is that Daisy?
Yeah, she's freaking out.
Let's bring her in here.
Yeah. Open the door. Get Daisy in here. No, dude, I lived in Queen Creek, and I remember seeing a coyote just like pimping down the street, just like on the sidewalk. Daisy, come here, baby doll. Oh, there she is. There we go. Dude, yeah, I have to be careful. There's one. I did a podcast with Erico, and there like Sean Rooney is talking, and all of a sudden you just hear like this pop, 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 and like Daisy accidentally pulled one of the wires out and just like slammed on the ground. So okay,
sweet baby.
I as much as I love all the tangents that were going on,
yes,
I do. There are no, don't be sorry, because that's what I want. But we're an hour in, and there are some things that I want to talk about Holy Fawn, because not because I have any obligation. But
I gotta talk about Holy Fawn. God damn it!
But because I have a legitimate curiosity about certain things within your kind of musical journey.
Okay.
Now I know you came from Alan Penny before. And now, when I was talking to Trevor on the last podcast, he mentioned how he gave kind of a little teaser, I guess, about you. And his summation kind of was that Holy Fawn is what you always wanted to do, but Alan Penny was kind of almost what you wanted, but not exactly kind of fully there. I kind of would see if you wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, of course. No, like it's kind of funny because like I don't know, Alan Penny is something that I had done for years, you know, and it's mostly just been like me just like writing songs and just like, you know, recording them on my own or whatever to some degree. Other than like the maybe like the previous EP, like right before like we kind of like called it quits and everything, but yeah, it's definitely like a very smooth transition. A lot of the songs from Realms were gonna be Alan Penny songs. It was just like stuff where it was like, you know, like our bassist was like, hey, like he was playing in another band at the same time, and I know he had a lot more fun with that band. One of our other guitar players who was with me for like the whole thing was like, you know, I'm going back to school. I'm gonna move to California, and it was just like a lot of other things that kind of just like went through the mix. And yeah, I was gonna like just record Realms, you know, in my apartment, which I did, and I worked with Evan and Alex at the same time. It's like two of our current bandmates.
And that's
in Holy
Evan
Phelps,
Evan Phelps, who went to a high school. Evan Phelps has popped up on this podcast before. Okay. Oddly enough, we have mutual friends.
Nice,
but I think he may have went to Williamsfield High School, which is the high school that I went to. But I could be totally wrong. But
I totally don't even know.
It doesn't matter anyway.
But yeah, so like I worked with Evan and Alex, and they're like, hey, like, you know, you should come over. Like we all like the same kind of music. Like let's just like do an instrumental jam kind of thing, and just kind of like shoot the shit, you know. So we did. We all got along pretty well at work and whatnot, and I admit that I was pretty apprehensive about the entire thing, just because like I know I don't work very well with others, and
but you're so nice, you're so welcoming.
I mean, like I love secretly. People. When it comes to music, I just like things a certain way, and I know that it's like tough for like a lot of other people that like, you know, also enjoy writing music to like kind of like get on board with and everything. But with that said, you know, they got me over there, and we ended up recording like a 2-hour like session of just like instrumental jams, and it was like all like very Holy Fawn like, and it made me feel really good, and like, you know, we're like, wow, this is really cool. So like, you know, we did it again, and I think we did it like a third time, and I was like, hey, like, you know, like I have like, you know, these 5 or 6 songs that I've been kind of like messing with, you know, like, you know, what do you think? And they're like, hey, like we like these, if you want to do like a new band, like let's do that. So we basically just like transitioned from Holy Fawn transitioned from Alan Penny into Holy Fawn, which worked out pretty seamlessly because on the very last show, like our bassist quit, and Evan, our guitar player right now, filled in on bass for that Alan Penny show. So it was just, I don't know, it all worked out like super well, and like I feel like it all just was a result of me kind of venturing out of my comfort zone.
That's awesome,
and
man.
Yeah, like I'm so thankful just because like they're some of my closest friends now, and like I have never been in a situation where I would trust my, like, you know, myself and my music with anyone else's, you know, intake and creative kind of like abilities ever up until probably right about now. So
yeah, Evan, okay, so I don't think he went to the high school that I went to, but he has a connection to Alex LeBlanc from Sonora and Chorus. And
yeah, I think they're like pretty good friends.
Yeah, they're good friends. Yeah. And I think, if I'm remembering correctly, the three of us were originally going to be in a project together back in like 2011, or like when we were all younger. Because me and Alex LeBlanc go way, 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 way back. Like we were friends from like sophomore year in high school, and it's so funny too because we started a band together. And then, like, difference of opinions or music taste at the time didn't work out. And then Phantom Party and Sonora and Chorus started within 2 months of each other. And we both, like, hit the same milestones at the same time. It was kind of funny seeing each other.
Fork in
like,
the road right
yeah,
there.
it was there. But it was like a fork in the road, but we took, like, this kind of a parallel path. It was very interesting.
That's super cool, though.
Yeah, he's a real sweetheart of a guy. So, as far as, like... Are you kind of a tyrant when it comes to like your vision being? Because I can tell. Like
I don't
we
feel
all,
like
we all
I
fucking
am.
know. Like Holy Fawn is Ryan. Let's be real. Like
No. Like it might have started off like that, but certainly
it started off like that.
Certainly nowadays, it's a lot more collaborative. With like a lot of these new songs, like I feel like I've left a lot of extra room for both Alex, Evan and Austin to kind of like do their thing on, there might be some things where I'm just like, fuck, can we please do it this way? I'm sure they might see me as a tyrant and everything like
You're
that.
so nice.
I
There's no
don't
way.
think so.
There's
But
no
like,
way.
no, but like from where it started to like right now, like especially in recording with this album, the amount of things that we've re-recorded, like bass and additional guitars and vocals and everything like that, I think that we've come a very long way, and I could not be happier to be like making this album with them. Like this is certainly like I've worked on a lot of other albums, and I don't think I've ever put this much like physical and mental and emotional like effort into anything in my entire life, and I'm so absolutely pumped, and I couldn't be more thrilled to have the three of those guys a part of it too.
And it's so when you say this album, you're making an album right now. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. We're actually done with it now, so we're just
Really?
mastering it. Yeah, but we self-recorded everything, and I say that kind of loosely just because, like we recorded everything, but really Evan and Austin have been the guys in the forefront, just like making all the edits and really really tracking everything. Like I've offered my 2 cents in as far as like mixing and stuff that I like want to make it sound like and how I want to hear things, but physically and mechanically, like those guys have been really doing everything.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Right. So now, how does the new album kind of differ from Realms?
Yeah, that's that's a good question.
And it doesn't have to. Because
No,
Realms
I mean
is
like
awesome.
no, well, thank you, and it definitely has. I mean, it's I think it's just like a more expanded version of Realms and everything. I feel like in between everything, I feel like the writing process for a lot of stuff like went with like me recording demos, and if I finished all the vocals for something, then like I'd show it to the guys, and if they liked it, then we would like elaborate on that.
Got it.
And in that capacity, we probably have like somewhere around 20 songs. There's gonna be like 10 or 11 on the record. But it's a full length. It's clocking in a little over an hour.
Thank God. Oh, can't wait.
I know, dude.
Can't wait.
We're pumped to be doing a full length too, because it's like been several years since Realms came about. But Realms was all recorded in my apartment. I literally was coming down from from Owl and Penny, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I need to do something musically. Like I don't know what, but like I need to do something. It doesn't
sound directionless. It sounds pretty fucking solid.
Well, thank you. I mean, my favorite, I feel like one of my favorite songs from Realms is Full, and like that was a song that like literally took me like probably like 4 years to write. Like it just took so long, man. I feel like none of these songs are like something where it's like I'm gonna sit down and write a song. Like it's stuff where it's like I need to like revisit stuff. I need to like revisit a lot of those emotions. Like a lot of those emotions are like tough for me to like face eye to eye.
Well, that's what's scary about a second release is that you spend your first album. You spend your entire life working on your first record.
Yeah, of
course. And then you're expected to make your second record in like a year.
Better or something like that.
It's like
I just feel like the natural course of our band is gonna be like, all right, like we're gonna put out an album like kind of like whenever we feel like it. It's never gonna be a thing where it's like, all right, it's been like a year, we need to put something out. It's like, dude, like we put the first fucking EP out like in 2015. Like it's 2018 now. I'm like, we don't even have a fucking CD release show booked yet. It's just. I just want everything to like be like very perfect, and if like we had a more or less master like last year, and I just wasn't happy with it, and I don't think the guys were happy with it either, and we just kept perfecting it. We got like really, really kind of like obsessive about it, and like now it's sounding good. Like I've got a more or less a master copy in my car, and there's only a tiny little thing here and there that we want to mess with, but like it's basically done, and it's and again, like kind of like how we were talking, it's like it's a body of work that we want people to listen to, like from beginning to end, and in one kind of like piece. It's not a concept album or anything like that, but it's something that like we're you know, I've literally never worked harder on anything in my entire life.
Dude, that's amazing.
So
are you aware of the reception from the show that you guys played with Sundressed and Nominee and Baseline, I think, was on that show too?
They were on there. Baseline and Troubled Minds.
Troubled Minds, of course. Yeah. Troubled Minds, my fucking boy. Shout out Troubled Minds.
Yeah, dude.
God, Matt's my boy.
Dude, they're awesome.
They're so good.
No, like we're like I don't know about reception necessarily, but like we had a really good time, and like we just like.
So I'll tell you what the reception was from that show.
It was shit.
No. The reception of that show was from multiple sources who I've spoken to. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't at that show because I think I had a podcast maybe that night, or there was something going on. Matt, I had lined up to get tickets from it, and Matt, I might have even bought tickets for it, and I was supposed to go, but something came up and I wasn't able to. From everyone that I spoke to at that show, it was like, because you were the only band on the bill who wasn't pop punk for the most part. I mean, like, the Troubled Minds is kind of like twinkle, emo, punk, whatever the fuck, but they fit on that bill way more than like Holy Fawn.
I know,
does.
we're kind of like the dark horse of like, I feel like we're legit like the dark horse of like any fucking flyer we end up being on. I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Like,
but it's not.
Thanks for having us, though.
But the thing is, though, that like everyone who I spoke to, or in every single post that I saw from that show was like, yeah, Sundress were awesome, but Holy Fawn, holy shit. Like, everyone was talking about how they were like, I did not expect that. I had no idea they were that loud, and they were that big, and they were that epic and crescendo-y, and like...
That's super cool. I'm glad that I didn't have that. I feel like I would just like feed my ego, and I don't want that.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to feed your ego, but like it is one of those things where that show, I heard so many people talking about how they did not go there because everyone went to that show expecting like a good like pop punk like Rebel Lounge like good time, and everyone was like at the end of Holy Fawn, everyone's like, what now? What? What am I supposed
I need to like go
now?
take a shower or something. No, but like I kind of like, and we've talked about that before, because like I feel like we've also not fit on a lot of other shows in the past. So, but I feel like we kind of like, I don't know. I personally feel like we would kind of like revel in that. Like, it's just, I'd rather stick out like a sore thumb, you know? Like, I'd rather be that kind of dark horse of,
but it's not a sore
of
thumb.
what we're doing, you know?
It's
and
a shiny thumb.
Yeah, it's no, I'd much rather be like that band where it's just like we like don't quite fit in, and I know I feel like we're never gonna quite fit in. Like, you know, even like we're playing with like on that tour with Dispatch of Sky, like we played with a lot of post rock bands, and even the shows that like they didn't book, you know, we had 4 days with them, but like even the days that like I booked, kind of before and after and everything like that, we I don't know, we just weren't quite like everything else. Like, I feel like post rock and shoegaze like are the nearest genres of what we're doing, but I know it's not like what we want to do. Like, I know we don't want to be a post rock band.
You're too explosive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be a shoegaze band. I don't want to be a post rock band. Like, I don't want any of that shit. Like, I don't know what we are though, and like, and I know we're not quite doomgaze, but like, I know this new album has definitely got some elements of it, but like, I don't know what it is. I just want to make like good music. I just want to like make some stuff that like people are like I just enjoy listening to that. Like, it makes me like feel some stuff, you know. And, like,
totally, man, and it's there are some really good post rock bands from in town, and I feel like that's one of those scenes that really doesn't get enough credit.
Totally.
And like, for instance, the two that when I think of post rock in Phoenix that come to mind, I don't even know if they're doing anything right now because I don't, like, I'm not in enough of the know. Like, I know Ghost Island, who I've heard before, but I don't know if they're doing anything right now. In Moons Eat Stars,
Yeah.
who like again, I don't know if they're doing anything right now, but that album or EP or whatever it was that they dropped, I think it was last year, was amazing.
Dude, they got like a lot of recognition off
They
of
do?
that
Oh,
album.
they did?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, that album's so good.
And I know Ghost Island just got like signed to Fluttery and everything.
Good, thank God.
But it's also kind of like the thing with like a lot of post rock stuff. Like you usually don't see like a lot of those guys like kind of like doing the whole like hella promotion kind of thing the way that you'd see like a pop punk band doing, you know?
They're just busy riding waves of euphoria.
Yeah, no, and I totally get that. It's just like that's just not the way that things like go with like those bands, you know, like metal bands, hardcore bands, pop punk bands, and all those bands. Like I just feel like you just don't see a lot of the other like sub-genre stuff, like post rock, shoegaze, all that stuff. Like no one's like, I feel like most of the time not that like there aren't humble people in any of those other genres, because like of course there are, but it's just like those genres are just like people that just like usually don't like talking about their craft. They're just like, do we just do this because it's
totally.
You know, we enjoy it, you know? And
those are the pure sweet people.
Yeah,
man.
no, and I totally dig that, and it's like it sucks when you have to like find a middle ground, and you're just like, dude, like we're all doing this for like our own reason. And it's like I don't know what we're making. It's like pretty and heavy, but like there's no genre, and I also can't like just be like, fuck you, come to our show. It's like, no, like we have to actually like promote, and I personally enjoy doing that. Like I came from bands that just like we used to flyer and like go around everywhere and just like talking to people, and I know I feel like I'm socially awkward as fuck, but like I just enjoy talking to people, especially if something I have done musically has like made any kind of impact on someone. I'd just be like, that's incredible to me, like, and I just want to at least let people know that like that's like, you know, something that I like wholeheartedly appreciate and everything too. So
hell yeah, man. Well, thank you so much for doing this. Thanks for coming on the show.
So I
feel like that's a really nice place to kind of wrap things up.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for doing the little video session that we did. That's going to be really fun.
Thank you.
That'll be up a few days before I put up the episode. And like, I'm so excited. Unfortunately, the episode is going to be out after your guys' upcoming show.
That's okay.
But it's going to be amazing.
We do have a show, Yucca Tap Room, April 29th.
Ooh, that'll be perfect. It'll be out
with
by then.
Coastlands, and it's going to be with Living Receiver and Moons Eat Stars, actually.
Oh, shit!
Yeah, buddy.
Is that a weekend?
It's going to be a Sunday night, but it's down the street from you, buddy.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be awesome, man. Fuck yeah, that's going to be... Yeah, that's what's awesome about living here is I can walk to 51 West and Yucca and Time Out Lounge and Zia. And it's awesome, man. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Like, this is one of those episodes that's really special because we just got into so many, like, crazy stuff. And, like, I had to ask questions about the band because I'm so curious about it, but... I also like you are a really, really special and magical human being, and I definitely want to have you back on the show anytime.
Yeah.
You guys, like, when you're ready to release the album, which I know takes way longer than it should. You let me know when you guys are going to put out the album, and if you want to come back on this show, I would be more than happy to have you back on. And
we'd love to, man.
Man. So,
and
maybe we can get somebody else from the band too. That doesn't matter to me, dude. So. Let me know. We'll hook it up. I would love to have you back on. So thank you so much for coming on. Everybody, thank you for listening. And I've got some... I say this at the end of every episode, man, but I've just got more and more awesome guests coming on. I'm in this little nice wave of luck where I've got some really awesome guests who said yes, and I don't know why. So I think it's awesome. So thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
Get stoked. Aw, shit. Look at that. The episode's over, man. We're done. Episode is finished. Luckily, though, there are plenty of other older episodes hanging around the internet anywhere you'd like to find podcasts. iTunes, podcast apps like Stitcher or Podcast Addict for either the iPhone or the Android. My official Podbean website. I'm fucking everywhere, man. I'm building an empire. Let's take over the fucking world. Anyway, if you've made it this far, I truly appreciate you and encourage you to please reach out and say hello. I'm serious about this, guys. I really want to connect with my listeners. So whether you want to come on the show or not, drop me a line. Hit me an email at gettingstokedpodcast@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I think that's it, man. Thank you guys so much for listening. It really, I know I harp on it so much, but it really truly means everything. So thank you. Get stoked.